Alright, it's Sunday, so it's time for the weekly update on the garden. I'm still having a little bit of problems with charring in this part of the bed on the chard. It seems to have moved to the ones that I have planted from my own seedlings, but it's not near as bad as what I'm seeing on that and that. But these ones are starting to recover, so I don't know. This one has recovered completely, and those two were never affected. My kohlrabi is starting to ball up on some. It's quite a bit behind Mom's, but hers was planted quite a bit before mine. I went ahead and tucked in some more chard here. I don't know if it'll do anything being shaded like this, but it could. And the chard is mostly being grown to feed to the animals anyway. Green kohlrabi is also starting to ball up at the bottom. And the celery, even the one that was struggling last week, is stopping the struggle and it's doing much better. Broccoli and cabbage has taken off. It's not as big as Mom's, but it is starting to get there. And mine doesn't have any aphids on it. We had to spray for aphids. We use organic dish soap, organic garlic cloves that are smushed up, and water. And then we do 2 cups of water, and then we let it sit for 24 hours, and you shake it up really good, strain it out, and put it in a spray bottle, and you spray that on your aphids if you have them, and it kills them, and it doesn't harm the plant. Okay, I have planted all of the tomatoes and peppers that I'm going to plant. So I put 2 alpacas here and 4 of the Lillian's Yellow. I was only going to keep 2 of the Lillian's Yellow heirloom tomatoes, but they put on a burst of growth and stopped looking pathetic. So I decided to go ahead and grow more. This first line of peppers is my Traveler's Jalapeno. And then so is this first one, and then the rest in that row are Golden Treasure sweet bell peppers. Well, not bell, just sweet peppers. And then this area that looks empty, I planted Maxi Bell haricot bush beans, or green bean, the fancy name. And you can see that 1, 2 have started to come up. And that might be the start of a 3rd. We're still working out this irrigation bed. This is the one that's given us the most problem because it leaks. And I think it's going to be okay, but we're going to need to move the lines just a little bit so that every plant gets water at its roots. And I'll probably have to come in here with a watering can and get these dry patches in the green beans. And these other green beans are top crop heirloom bush beans. And I planted here as well. This is what I had left of the beans. This is my black Tuscan kale that I planted from seed. Well, started in the house, had it under lights, and transplanted it in here. But they are my own seeds. And this is red Russian kale, and then a couple of extras I had. On the other side is my Blacktail Mountain watermelon. and it's going to take up 3/4 of the bed pretty much when it expands. It's really supposed to be good for short growing seasons. It says 60 to 65 days, so I believe that's 60 to 65 days after it blossoms, not after it germinates though. I believe that's how that works, but I think we will be able to get some watermelon this year, the way this year is going. And over here I planted the Anasazi beans that Lady B003 sent me in the package I won in her subscriber contest. So we'll see how those do. They're a really pretty bean. They're like white with purple specks. So I'm hoping that they'll also have really pretty flowers and bean pods. And then on this side, I planted fava beans. And you can just see right there, that one might be coming up. Or it might have just been uncovered by squirrels. So I am just covering it up a little bit. And we'll see. We'll go from there. If it comes up through again, then I'll know it's actually sprouting. Okay, we got the rest of the tomatoes and peppers planted over here earlier in the week, and we finally got our support structure put up. It's just some posts with some boards that we had laying around and some clothesline strung through, and the tomatoes will grow up and be supported by them. I got the rest of my peppers in. Over here is my Ruby King red bell peppers, and then the rest of the way is my Beher Ozan paprika, because I'm going to try to grind enough paprika this year for our use. So I cut the Asian stir-fry greens way back, and they're coming back again, and they are really good in salads. I've just been eating them raw, not stir-fry. And this lettuce, I have been harvesting a couple leaves off of each plant every other day. It's doing really well. I'm seeing a lot of bee activity. A lot more than even a week ago, so I'm really happy with that. The thyme is starting to get bigger. The sorrels have really put on a rush of growth, and they're so pretty. Yeah, I've got a lot more carrots coming up. Not as many as I would have hoped for, but I'll plant more in another week if I don't see more sprouts. Leeks are doing great. I've slipped in a couple more lettuce plants. These are the hyper red ruffled waved loose leaf lettuces that I grew from the seed under the lights. My calendula has taken off like crazy. I am really looking forward to when the plants start to flower. So I counted, and every single squash seed that I planted of the yellow crookneck squash came up, and every single Black Beauty zucchini came up. So I'm going to dig most of them out and put them into little 4-inch pots to sell at my plant sale. And I will keep the best looking ones growing here. I will probably keep 3 of the squash and 4 or 5 of the zucchini. Well, or maybe 4 of each. We like the zucchini slightly better, but we do like the yellow squash a lot. Strawberries are still coming along. Getting a few blossoms here and there. And No berries yet. Hey, the kale is at full size. I've been harvesting the outer branches and giving them to the rabbits. I prefer my kale small, and I don't like to cook it, so I'll be taking off of the younger plants for myself. The peas that I planted are all mostly grabbing onto the string that leads to the trellis from my own seed, those ones. And then these ones are, the biggest ones, about a foot from the bottom of the screen. And oh, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little ladybug right there. Maybe I should take her over to where the aphids were. But yeah, these are just doing really well. So I am really delighted with how well this is. And when I was digging down and planting some other transplants this week, I noticed that it's really warm in the bottom of the beds. So I think that extra warmth is lending to all of this crazy growth. And here are mom's kohlrabi, and you can see that the balls on those are getting quite large. Probably 2 more weeks and some of them will be ready. And her berries are doing really well. I gave her some of my chard starts last week, and they were really teeny tiny. Most of them were about the size of that one, and a lot of them have doubled or tripled in size. Her lettuce is doing really well, and hopefully she was able to take care of all of the aphids, and we won't have a problem with the cauliflower or her broccoli. I didn't plant cauliflower because I always kill cauliflower. So that wraps it up for this week's update. See ya.